Okay, good morning, almost noon. Good noon, everybody. Welcome to the Senate Committee on Growth and Infrastructure. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Senator Hammond. Senator Hansen. Senator Pizzina. Senator Spearman. Chair Harris.
Here. Okay, everyone is present. We've got 5 bills on for work session today. We don't normally do this, but since it's Senator Hammond's last day in growth and infrastructure, I'm going to let him chair the work session. I know. We're really throwing staff for a loop today. Senator, you want to come sit in the seat? Oh, yeah. Yeah, all right. Come on down. All right.
Well, good afternoon. No, is it afternoon? Good afternoon. Welcome to Growth and Infrastructure, and we are going to begin our work session here. And I first of all, thank you, Madam Chair, for this privilege and honor to chair. Coming full circle, I've done this once before, and it's kind of fun. We just have one little work session with 4 bills and 5 bills. Okay, we've already changed it to 5 bills. And all kinds of other stuff that just changed at the last second, and she handed it over to me. So, there's method to her madness. So we'll go ahead and start the work session. I believe, are we going to start with the AB 144? All right, now we'll have our policy analyst begin at that. So we'll go ahead and introduce the bill to us.
Thank you, Chair Hammond. Before I begin, for the record, Kristen Rossiter, Committee Policy Analyst and nonpartisan staff of the Legislative Council Bureau. As such, we do not advocate on behalf of or in opposition to any proposed legislation. The first item on the work session is Assembly Bill 144, R1, which was sponsored by Assembly members LaRue Hatch, Summers Armstrong, Anderson, Watts, Gonzalez, and others, and was heard by this committee on April 26th. Assembly Bill 144 prohibits the sale and distribution of certain new fluorescent lamps. The bill establishes civil penalties for violations and authorizes the Attorney General to bring a civil action against a person with repeated violations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rossiter. Any questions? No? I'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is that there's no amendment, right?
There are no amendments to the bill. Thank you.
All right, then we'll go ahead. We have a motion by Chair Harris to do pass, and a second from Senator Pizzina. Any question on the motion? Senator Hansen, and a discussion, question?
First, Mr. Chair, in 2015, which committee did you chair?
Transportation.
Same one.
Yep.
Well, congratulations. Yeah, no, I'm going to vote against it. I think we already discussed it during the hearing, but just last year in Nevada, we had 1.8 million of these sold, so there is still a consumer demand for it. These are going to naturally phase out as the more superior products come into play. Like any other product, as technology improves and these types of things like light bulbs, frankly, get better, these older ones will go away naturally. So the idea that we're going to criminalize it just makes no sense to me. Plus, I think, honestly, it's way out of our league of expertise to have a 1 or 2 hour hearing and then decide on light bulbs for millions of Nevadans, which ones they can and can't use, just really, I think, is way beyond what we should be doing. Last, Section 6 of the bill has so many exemptions in it that it's going to be literally impossible for anybody who's trying to either be a supplier of light bulbs or some sort of a wholesale place like a Home Depot or whatever to know which are and which are not going to be allowed. So I'm going to vote no, just because I think this is something that the marketplace will naturally take care of by itself. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Hansen. Do we have any further comments and or questions about the motion? Seeing none, well, I'll just say this about my colleague. He's extraordinarily cogent in this argument, so I'll go ahead, because you're just so good about that, I'll just go ahead and go vote with you, but we'll go ahead and take the vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. And those opposed? Nay. So the measure passes 3-2 with 2 no votes from Senator Hansen and myself.
Can we do 303?
Yep. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm thinking about who needs to get this. Who would like to take this?
I'll take it.
All right, Senator Harris, thank you. All right, Ms. Rossiter, I think we're going to go to 316.
Thank you, Chair Hammond. Assembly Bill 316 was sponsored by Assemblyman Miller and was heard by this committee on May 1st. Assembly Bill 316 revises the penalty for the unlawful possession of certain number of unregistered vehicles unfit for use to be punishable by a civil penalty of not more than $100 for each day of the violation. The bill also authorizes a local authority to adopt an ordinance prohibiting the same conduct and imposing a different non-criminal penalty. Lastly, the bill provides that such a local ordinance applies instead of the state law prohibiting the same conduct under the same circumstances. There are no amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rossiter. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to do pass. We have a motion from Senator Spearman to do pass. Do we have a second? Second from Senator Harris. Any questions, comments? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. We'll go ahead and assign that to Senator Hansen. You're welcome. All right, Ms. Rossiter, I think we're going to go to Assembly Bill 408 next.
Thank you, Chair Hammond, Assembly Bill 408, sponsored by Assemblywoman Brown May, was heard by the committee on May 15th. Assembly Bill 408 prohibits a person from driving a vehicle in an unauthorized trick driving display or facilitating an unauthorized trick driving display on premises to which the public has access. Additionally, the bill authorizes a law enforcement officer to remove or cause to be removed a vehicle to a place of safekeeping if the person driving or in actual physical control of the vehicle is issued a citation for reckless driving. The bill provides that a tow car operator is prohibited from charging fees or costs for the storage of such a vehicle until the vehicle has been stored for a certain period. The owner of such a vehicle is required to pay a hardship tariff for the storage and removal of the vehicle if the owner establishes the inability to pay for the normal rate under certain circumstances. There is an amendment that was proposed by Clark County, and a copy is attached. In summary, the amendment deletes all of Section 2.2 and adds new language authorizing a tow operator to provide a discounted rate in the case of economic hardship. And secondly, at the meeting today, a conceptual amendment has been proposed, and I'll provide a brief overview if any additional information is needed. The chair could ask for that. It would mimic provisions in 303 where you are not able to charge violations for 48 hours. It would change the 48 hours, the storage fees to 24 hours. Would require tow operators to display some type of sign prominently so that they, and also the tow operator must consider deviating from tariff hardship. The phone number must also be included in this display, notifying individuals about from the towing company. And operators must report to the Nevada Transportation Authority how often they deviated from these hardships. And again, if I have omitted anything, Senator Harris or others may be able to provide that information. Thank you.
And thank you, Ms. Rossiter. Is there additional information you'd like to add, Senator Harris?
Thank you, Chair Hammond. I think, are we on 316?
No, we're on 408, I believe.
Oh, we're on 408. Okay, yes. So there are a couple of additional amendments to Senate Bill 408. One would ensure that if a tow operator tows a car for expired registration, which they are not supposed to do, they are not able to charge a person for that tow. In addition, the bill allows tow operators to deviate from their tariff. They will now be reporting that deviation, how often they use it, to the Transportation Authority. 3, we will require that they put up a disclosure, some type of signage that says that you may have an opportunity to get a lower rate under certain circumstances that will be determined by the NTA through regulation. And then, did I forget anything, Ms. Dummer? Oh, lastly, we will go from, instead of striking the 48 hours where they're not allowed to charge for storage, we're going to change that to 24 hours. That's all.
Very good. Are there any additional questions from the committee? It sounds like you guys covered a lot of ground right there. I mean, the original intent, I think, of the bill is amazing, right? I mean, there's certain things that are happening, and we as a community need to do something about it. And I think that's what we're attempting to do here. And then the minutia is that you still don't want to harm some people who get caught up in this, parents especially.
Yeah, and Chair, if I may, I
yes,
just
please.
want to note that all of the amendments that I just verbalized are were done in consultation with the Trucking Association and other interested stakeholders. And so they are still in support with the changes I proposed.
Yeah, and I can see all of them in the back of the row. I mean, the back of the whole room. I mean, there's nobody in the front, and they're in the very back. Yeah, I see them shaking their heads. Yeah, it's, front row Joes are more important to me than the back row folks. But yeah, I see that they're nodding in acceptance of the amendments, and it looks like this is all cooked together then. Any further comments or questions? All right, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to amend and do pass. We have a motion from Senator Harris and a second from Senator Spearman. Any comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Looks like the motion passes unanimously. And I'll say this. I'll go ahead. I mean, would you like to take it? Is that? Yeah, sure. Yes. Okay. Senator Harris. Thank you very much. And then we're going to go ahead and move Ms. Rossiter to Assembly Bill 456.
Thank you, Chair Hammond. Assembly Bill 456 was sponsored by the Assembly Committee on Growth and Infrastructure and was heard by this committee on May 3rd. Assembly Bill 456 prohibits the operation of work or freight trains that exceed 7,500 feet in length on certain railroads, tracks in the state, and provides that a person who violates this prohibition is liable to the Public Utilities Commission of Nevada for a civil penalty. The bill also establishes certain requirements for the installation and operation of a wayside detector system, which is an electronic device or a series of connected devices that scan passing trains, rolling stock, on-track equipment, and their component equipment and parts for defects. Lastly, the bill requires, except in the case of a mechanical failure, a train, rolling stock, or other on-track equipment which has come to a complete stop and is blocking a railroad grade crossing to be cut, separated, or moved to clear the crossing upon the approach of an authorized emergency vehicle. There are no amendments. Thank you.
Very well. Any questions? I'll entertain a motion to do pass. We have a motion from Senator Spearman, a second from Senator Harris. Senator Hansen.
Any discussion? Yes, there is. Again, I think this is way, way over our pay grade. We're getting involved in something that is an interstate commerce issue that should be handled exclusively by the federal government, consequently. During the hearing, we heard from one proponent of the bill, ironically, who mentioned that The safety on the railroads has gone up by 40%. I went and looked it up. Sure enough, this is from the feds. Overall accidents have fallen by 44% since the year 2000, and accidents caused by track and equipment problems are also trending downward. Since the late 1970s, derailments have shrunk by more than 75%. The railroad is already putting up all the scanning devices in all the key areas. They've already done all that. What this could potentially do is dramatically increase the cost for consumers, because if you start limiting the lengths of trains, the amount of cargo they can bring, well, the cost will go up considerably. So to me, it's like, whoa, we're getting in way over our heads after a hearing of an hour or two as to telling something as important as an entire railroad industry how long or short their train lengths can be. Just like I don't think we would feel comfortable here telling the airline industries how many passengers they can have on their flights and so forth. It's just something that way out of our ability to understand in such a very, very limited window of time. So I'm going to vote no on this, because I think, again, this is something that the Nevada Legislature is simply not the right body to deal with this. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Hansen. Additional comments? All right, let's go ahead and put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And those opposed? Nay. So you have two no votes, Senator Hansen and myself, and then you have 3 yes votes, so the measure passes. And I think we're going to end with Assembly Bill. Oh, the floor statement. Yeah, why don't we, Senator Spearman, would you mind doing that one? Senator Spearman? And then I think we'll move on to AB 303. Thank you, Ms. Rossiter.
Thank you, Chair Hammond. Assembly Bill 303 was sponsored by the Assembly Committee on Growth and Infrastructure and was heard by this committee on May 1st. It removes the time restriction when a towing operator can charge a fee or cost for the towing and storing of a vehicle. The bill also prohibits towing operators from charging a fee or cost for towing vehicles solely due to an expired registration, and provides that doing so is a violation subject to certain penalties. Lastly, the bill revises the situations in which an owner may pay a hardship tariff, but limits the owner of a towed motor vehicle from paying the hardship tariff more than once per calendar year. An amendment was proposed at the meeting today by Assemblyman Miller. And in summary, the amendment sets forth certain reasons outside of the owner's control for which he or she is determined to be incapable of paying the normal rate charge for the removal and storage of the towed motor vehicle. Also, it authorizes the operator to require the owner to pay the normal rate charged under certain circumstances. There are, and that just that one amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rossiter. Any discussion before we begin? It looks like we are looking for a amended due pass motion. And we have a motion by Senator Harris and a second. Second from Senator Pizzina. Any discussion on the motion? Senator Hansen.
Oh, just real quick. My understanding is the towing companies still feel this is completely unfair to them. Therefore, I will be a no vote.
Okay. Yeah, of all the work sessions, this is the one where we vote no on the most. And you put me in charge.
That's probably why. It's a setup.
Yeah, it's a setup. I still appreciate it, though. Thank you. So we have a motion and a second on the table here, so we'll go ahead and go to a vote. All those in favor of the measure, say aye. Aye. And those opposed? Nay. So we have 2, and myself and Senator Hansen, and then the motion passes with 3 votes, and we'll assign that to, I think, Senator Spearman. Yep, that sounds like a good plan. Senator Spearman, thank you very much. And I think that takes us to the end of the work session. So before we go to public comment, again, thank you, Senator Harris. I really appreciate the opportunity to do this. It kind of wraps up the whole 12 years in the Senate. My last committee meeting with you here. I've got one more in education, but this is my last one here. So I really appreciate just the acknowledgement, I suppose, and the opportunity to say publicly it's been a pleasure working with you. You've done an amazing job with the committee, and thank all the committee members and the folks who tend to be in here the most, except for you guys in the back row. But I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll open it up for any public comment. Do we have anybody who wants to walk from the very back of the room to the front of the room? That'll be a no here in Carson City. How about in Las Vegas? I don't have my glasses on, but I don't think I see anybody there. BPS, anybody on, do we do public comment on the phone? Yeah, we'll go to the phone. Anybody on the phone?
Chair, the public line is open and working. However, there are no callers at this time.
No, I'm shocked. Then I guess what we'll do is.
Don't adjourn quite yet.
Okay, good. I was going to say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Before we adjourn, it is also the last Growth and Infrastructure meeting for our Vice Chair, Dr. Reverend Senator Pat Spearman. There are not enough words that I think I could say to summarize the work that she's done, not just here in this building, but actually across the entire country, working for and fighting for the things that she believes in. And it's been an absolute pleasure to have her as my vice chair and colleague and friend and mentor in the very short 3 sessions that I've been able to spend with her. I really appreciate you and everything that you've done for people like me, and not just for me, but for kids like me. And you made Nevada a much better state just by virtue of your presence. And so we are all forever grateful for everything that you've done. And none of us, I don't think, have any doubts that you are not done yet. We'll all be on the lookout for the rest of the changes that you will inevitably make. And, you know, Senator Spearman, if you'd like to say a couple of words, I'd be happy to hear them.
So just a couple, and my fiance has laid the law down, so I'm not sure about something next. So this is kind of tough life for spouses and if you're in a relationship. So, but we'll see what God says. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you all.
And just lastly, Senator Hansen, yes, please.
Actually, I wanted to comment first to thank Senator Spearman, but also, you know, Scott and I came in as freshmen together. Remember, that was a big deal because that was right when the term limit things kicked in, and that was 14 years ago, 7 sessions ago. So it's kind of, we've been together. He went into the Senate in 2013, so I didn't get to join him until the 2019 session. But it's been an honor to serve with you, and I'm going to miss you, and it's feeling increasingly lonely around here as I become like one of the really last of that whole class. So I'm sure you're not done in politics, at least I hope not, and it's been really an honor and privilege to serve with you for those 14 years. And the work you did on education especially is a real tribute to you and your services to the state. And I'm going to miss you most sincerely, not only as a friend, but as a colleague. And so often we've had those discussions and debates trying to come up with what is the right solutions and directions to go in our votes and for the state. And I'm going to miss your great counsel and your wisdom as well. So love you, and I'm going to miss you. So thanks, Scott.
All right, and last but not least, before we go today, this may be our very last meeting, as I don't know what we're going to do with bills once they come over from Ways. We may have to reconvene and hear them. They may go straight to Finance, but just in case it is, in fact, the last meeting, we have to get a shout out to our secretaries, Vicki and Paula. They've been stellar this session. To our legal counsel, Miss Dummer, who never lets me know how panicked she is when I'm throwing things at her at the last minute. To Miss Rossiter, who has always reminded me of everything that I've ever needed, even when I told her I didn't need it. She knew I would, and has had my back throughout this session. This committee would not have run the way that it has without them. And also my legislative assistant / committee manager, Lena Idelson, who has taken on the Herculean task of not just dealing with me, but also managing the work of this committee, and has done so beautifully. There's not one person that has had anything less than stellar things to say about her, and she has earned that in spades. If y'all would just join me, can we give our staff just a quick round of applause? Thank you. All right. Chair Hammond, if it's okay with you, I think we're ready to recess. You want to recess? Oh, adjourn. I think we're ready to adjourn. You want to send us out?
Yeah. All right, well, thank you again, Chair, and this committee meeting of Government Growth and Infrastructure is adjourned.